Thank you for watching the Grievance Gordy Show. That's right. I'll be losing the nutty professor look pretty soon, right? Okay? But until today, what we're going to do today, I'm taking copious amounts of notes for a regular episode, but we're going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to talk about one of my treatments. Now, the main treatment is called Linoleum Blown Apart. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the name of the show. You will see the show get made. We are manifesting it into existence. I'm right here in Hollywood. I stay at the tiny homes and I eat off the EBT menu. All my writing is on Kindle and blah, 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 right? Okay, so I talk a little bit about numbers and the metonic cycle. There's certain things that I'm talking about that I'm not going to talk about anymore. Okay, that's it. And I'm going to show you during this sesh how we're going to change and grow this idea. Now, I only have a basic idea for this. This is a very specific idea. I'm not talking about linoleum blown apart. That is something different. That's my main property, and that contains all my music. My music goes with it. Now, if you take a look at The Sopranos, right? I'm really influenced by The Sopranos. And just like those HBO shows in general. They had the Chesterfield Kings played in an episode of The Sopranos. Now, when you see them, the Chesterfield Kings are playing on stage. Then the Fisher Dolly glides down the track. They pan around. They go into a conversation. So you're not going to watch any of my songs in Linoleum Blown Apart from start to finish. And that's why it's important to have a hook. And take a look at the songs Back When. Take a look at the songs Burning in the Night. They have that opening hook to them. Right? That's all you're going to hear. Then you're going to go leave the stage. You're going to go into a conversation. Right? So Linoleum Blown Apart is kind of inspired by people like David Chase, who had great music in The Sopranos. He took these archetypes and he updated them, made them real human people. And then they said, hey man, you're such a success. What do you want to do? He's like, I want to make a movie about rock and roll. So Linoleum Blown Apart is like Not Fade Away as a series, right? But it's about a kid in a 1980s punk rock band from 1987 to 1997. He goes from 17 to 27. It's very finite, guys. This is what, a lot of people might not understand. Juxtaposed with the filmmaker who inspires him from the previous decade before, the 1930s through the 1960s. Okay? And so we're going to be cutting in like a dream into his films and then back into Lionel's life, the punk rock kid, and then back into Walter's life, the filmmaker. Right? And so it's going to satiate that TikTok editing. We're going to cut from this. We're going to cut to that. We're going to cut from this. It'd be like you're scrolling your phone. This is where the film industry has to go. It has to go here. You don't have any choice, right? Again, you're going to have different filmmakers making different kind of films. And by the way, do you think Harvey Weinstein was involved in the pornography industry? Maybe. And why did Ron Jeremy get the deal that Vinny the Chin was trying to get all those years? Right? Oh, he's got dementia. Just send him home. Ron Jeremy got that deal. Ron Jeremy got the Vinny the Chin deal. Okay? So this is all I want to talk about. And it's about knowing. And then it's not about pushing your ideas. It's about putting them out there and letting them go. Okay? So this is what I knew. Okay. So we have, what? This is big on everybody's mind, right? This is what everybody's talking about. I already told you that the de-evaluation, right, brought about by DeepSeek, they devalued all of AI. Right? That's in retaliation for stealing TikTok. There you go. And that is the future of tech espionage. So what letter is this? The first. And what letter is this? The ninth. There you go. 19. Right? So again, is it a coincidence? Is it happenstance? Take a look one more time. First letter, ninth letter. we talk about the metonic cycle. And so we're going to talk about changing the title. This is called LA 2040. Right? Can't do 2020. Whatever. Shut up. LA 2040. That's clean. This is a prequel to an apocalypse. Right? It's a prequel to an apocalypse. That would be the subtitle, right? LA 2040. Forget about this. See, you can't because it's a smudge. Forget about it. Who cares? We're going to throw it away. Remember, it was originally called LA 2039. Who cares? You got to roll with the changes, baby. This is LA 2040 we're talking about, okay? This is a treatment. You're watching it being developed right here, live right now, okay? I didn't write any of this out. I have a little bit of an outline. What do we have? We've got our anti-hero. We all know he's going to be an anti-hero because, you know, nobody's good. Nobody's evil. You got to be a little bit of both. That's why we love the anti-hero. We love Bruce Willis characters, Clint Eastwood characters. We like the character of Shaft, right? He's a bad mother. Right? Okay, we like these characters. We like these guys. So what's happening here, right? They're laying off. He's a police officer. He's a cop. Right? But he's not in his 20s. And he's not in his 50s. He's about 35 years old, isn't he? Right? Does that make sense? He's about 35. Right? So he's seen the shit. He's not a rookie. But he can also see the change coming. And they're going to start doing something with what? AI. Oh, we're bringing back AI. And they're going to do what? Panopticon. Panopticon policing. This is the year that they're going to string everything together. This is the year that they've been putting up all the infrastructure, and I've been researching infrastructure as code. And that has a duality. It's like, are they coding the infrastructure? Or when they say infrastructure, is that code for change the commands? Right? So that's the kind of stuff that I've been researching in real life. So I don't have to do episodes about it. I can take these very real things and turn them into a fictional account. Just like the very scary things that happened to me when I was a child, I can take them and turn them into something else, right? I don't have to wander around pouring alcohol down my throat and never having been able to figure out that things that happened to you as a child could reoccur once again and again and again. You have to be careful of that, right? Sins of the father. I've talked about this all extensively on video, okay? So here we go. This is happening in real life, and it's happening in this, our anti-hero's life. He's a middle-aged guy. He's finally settling down. He finally bought an apartment. You know, that was the whole thing with me. I didn't know anything about real estate. Well, he does. Maybe he's just paid off his apartment. It's all paid off. He is paid off. He's doing good. At this age, you know, my parents were doing very well. They were making money, and, you know, my dad's a factory man. My mother was a municipal worker, the crossing guard, and taking on other jobs, directing traffic, right? Working more than one job, doing all that stuff. They did. They were very successful. Okay, so that's where this guy's at. So we're going to know that he is what? He's probably divorced. He's by himself. We need this guy to be alone. But we also need him to have maybe a daughter. Because we love daddy's girls. We love it. As a man, I wanted to start a family. I'm a traditionalist. It didn't happen. But I would love to have daughters. You should see. I mean, people like Stallone, he has daughters. Oh, my God. They gush. They love their dad. Right? You got to see it. It's pretty amazing, right? And again, I joke around. My mother's passed away, but, you know, I wanted to be a mama's boy. And sadly, at the end of her life, my mom didn't like me. I had to come to terms with that. It was pretty rough. She didn't like me. She just didn't like me as a person. That was really tough, man. But that's okay. You got to move on, right? Apparently, my wife didn't like me either. Join the club. So, right, we're going to say that he has some type of child. I'm making this up off the top of my head. It's a little bit of an idea. So what are they doing with the panopticon, right? Now you're going to lay off, you're going to start laying off police. But don't forget, we have that opening scene, which is really important. Pre-apocalypse. What's the opening scene? What is going to tell us, right? What is going to tell us everything we need to know about this guy? One of the ones that I really love is Brooklyn's Finest. I love Brooklyn's Finest. Got an ensemble cast. I mean, it's an amazing film. The director is amazing. Now, he was around shooting music videos when I was a young actor and production assistant doing the same in New York. I worked with Diane Bartel. I think her name is Bartel. Marcus Nispel, right? Pam Thomas, all these people. Pam Thomas did the Waterfalls video for whoever that is, Salt and Pepper, or one of those bands. I can't remember. It's not Salt and Pepper, but you know what I mean. I don't listen to that stuff, but everybody. Right? So you know what I mean. That's the kind of stuff that I was doing. I worked with Marcus Nispel, and again, sometimes I worked as an actor, and sometimes I worked as a production assistant with Mark Core. I worked with Roman Coppola, and when I was an actor, I gave a headshot to his father, Francis Ford Coppola, when he was supposed to do On the Road. And then I started pursuing Really the Blues. It's a book that takes place during Jim Crow segregation, and it was a Jewish guy who every time he'd get arrested, he'd just tell me he was black, so he'd get thrown in the black section because they had all the jazz musicians there, right? So it's kind of interesting. I saw a lot of parallels between what he said in what Mez Mesro talked about in Really the Blues and what I experienced as a young punk rock kid. Don't ever forget that Black Flag, Minor Threat, Negative Approach from Detroit, they were all skinheads. They all shaved their head because it was the antithesis to being a hippie. This is 78, 79, 1980. They shaved their head. It wasn't until Geraldo did that episode about the Geraldo skins that all these morons took their cue to become racist and make it about race. And you had, assholes like the Shreks, who were Anton LaVey's kids, involved in that kind of stuff. I mean, just really just terrible stuff. There's no such thing as racism. Race is a construct. It's a lie, right? They don't know the difference between races, ethnicities, cultures. They don't know any of this stuff, okay? And they try to pit one side against the other. It's divide and conquer. We all know that. If you divide yourself, stay conquered, right? So you have this rift in the punk rock scene. They take their cue from the media, and then what? Later on, you get American History X. And people begin to fall into this stuff. Well, if I'm a black drug dealer, then I have to join the Bloods or the Crips. If I'm white, well, then I have to be white pride and all this kind of stuff, okay? It's all dumb. It's all ridiculous, but it does exist. It's okay to acknowledge it, but you got to put it in perspective and put it in perspective of, hey, man, before it didn't exist. When I got into punk rock, the whole point was that you were into punk rock. You weren't into all this stuff over here. This is what you're into, so it didn't matter what you were. And that's why I have less than spit out of my mouth, no respect, and I consider these people to be human garbage, the people in my life who behave differently than that. I included my wife and the drummer of the grievance committee. These people are human garbage people, and if any of these people like Hicks or Lacey or Jimmy Doom or any of these losers come around me, I'll just assume that you're there to murder me. Okay, right? Paul Sin, ain't that right? Paul Sin. These guys all knew what was going on. And they think it's okay to torture individuals and harass them. And it's not. And it's not. And they goddamn bloody well know better. William for Smells. What are you, pissed off because I banged Jules? Yeah? Ain't that right, William for Smells? You got a lot of nerve, man. I'm talking about real people in my life who came after me in 2017 expecting me to die. Now what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen when your kids find out what you were a part of? These guys take their cue. These guys have a slave mentality. Who doesn't? Our hero right here. He has to take orders. But like any soldier, you start off, what? Taking orders. But what happens? You go up the ranks, you become an officer, then you start giving orders, right? So that's where this guy is at. This guy's at, sorry, my nose. This guy's at the midway point. He needs to rise up or get the fuck out. And it's looked like a lot of people are getting the fuck out. We have this opening scene. This is detrimental, right? Excuse me. You have, this is what we're going to show, where we're going to empathize with this guy. And you're going to see the new recruits are like what? The new recruits are like Clockwork Orange. Remember the guys he's hanging out with? They're just as violent and dangerous as he is. Well, he goes to prison. What happens to them? They become police officers. I told you that before. The difference between a cop and a criminal are the keys. And that's what we're going to show in the opening scene. We're going to show sadistic policing. Right? Because I watch the body cam videos all the time. There's some cop in Michigan, good-looking guy. I mean, you know, just a good-looking guy, clean cut. He's a psychopath. He's a sociopath, borderline psychopath. You see him, they show him in videos, man, just stomp. He's trying to break some guy's leg, and there's 3 cops on the guy. 3 cops on the guy, and he's over here trying to break the guy's leg. They show it quite, right? So this is the kind of person that you want to show, right? That's not our anti-hero. Our anti-hero's already been through that. He sees the changes, right? Our anti-hero, he can see this, right? He's the body cam. He's us looking at it. And he's like, hey. Maybe and then he gesticulates to the camera. Take it down a notch. He's the voice of reason because of his age. And he's surrounded him. He's seeing these new recruits. Well, what are they doing here in LA? They're offering cash. Cash. 50K. Right? 50K cash. Join the LAPD. Just pick one. What is it? It's LA 2039, so it's going to be LAPD, ain't it? And then you got the dialogue. You got the guy saying, Jesus Christ, man, when he's heading out, he's talking to his boss because he's in that middle. He's like, man, how come you guys didn't offer that when I was joining the force? What he doesn't know is he wants these people. They want these people because they're getting rid of our hero. They're getting rid of guys like our hero. They're just going to cut him out. Okay? I can't see him on my glasses on. They're just going to cut him out. You're done. Take an early retirement, pal. We don't know any of this stuff yet. We're just spitballing this stuff right now. Okay? Great. Now I have a yellow thing on my nose. I hope it goes away. Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's all in. Whatever. Okay, so we're setting up the first scene. The first scene is always going to be an action scene. Something that cops do. Police chase. I talk about the videos, right? It's going to be a car chase. Look at this. It's just falling together. This is falling into place. Look how easy this is. And we're doing it live right here. So I don't want to hear any of these alt-right people crying about Hollywood. You got some idea, go ahead, leave it in the comments. Right? If you think you can do better than the people in Hollywood are doing, then do it. What's stopping you? Why do you think I'm here? People try to kill me? People that I know? My wife? What? Torturing people? What are you doing, man? I had to recover. I had suffering severe neurological damage, and you're going to fucking pay every single one of you. Right? So we think. There's no such thing as revenge, right? That's the mind virus, right? What's revenge? What's revenge? What's revenge? It's in our mind. That's why these stories, the revenge stories, are so satisfying when we watch them, because we're never going to get it. That's why police love gang activity. Because where's it coming from? Well, we don't know. Next thing you know, there's some graffiti on the wall. Oh, that's gang graffiti right there. That proves they're there. Does it? It's correlation. But is it causation? When I was coming up in Detroit, it was the goddamn police officer's brother doing all the stuff. Molesting children and spray painting graffiti. That's why they put him in jail. Because he can rat to his brother, who's a police officer, what was going on in the jailhouse. Right? And the brother would know. That's how it works. I have another property that's like that too. Maybe those characters can also join these characters. You got to have a lot of characters here. We're only working on the one. We're only working on the first scene. You got to have a car chase. Of course. You got to get people's heart pumping. Right? And, you know, there's got to be some money involved. You guys like those things where they throw the money out and everyone's going for the money? Right? They just take some of the money, they throw it out. People start pulling over and running out, they're getting the money. Right? Maybe they do that. So they throw money. Because why? Because it is going to be the end of cash. Right? So you have this premonition. You're putting it into people's minds. Right? Right? What's wrong with predictive programming? What's wrong with predictive? You're telling us the future. You're telling us in this one scene, they're chasing a car from a robbery, obviously. They start throwing money out of the windows. We've seen this before. Okay, so what? It's a cliche. We've seen cop shows. How many cop shows are there? And now you have where you had before a lot of cars chasing them. Now you only have one or two. So now it's our anti-hero with a new rookie who he had to he's going to tell him, you got to back off, back down, man. Take it down a notch. But that's who the AI panopticon people at the top, remember the guys who created RoboCop? All the people at the top, the corrupt people, they want these sadistic officers, right? They don't want empathetic officers. Why? Why? Because they have new... And this is all based on stuff that I'm researching now. This is behavioral modification. Modification, right? Modifiers. How do you spell it? Behavioral modification. None of this stuff is known at the beginning. All we know is we got our guy. He talks to his boss. And he says... what are they giving these guys $50,000 for? He shows up to work, and these guys, these young guys, they got new cars. They got hot chicks. Dropping them off at work in the morning. They used to call it the walk of shame. There's no shame. They got some hot broad dropping them off. Yeah. Yeah, I got to go do my, 12-hour shift. Maybe they're doing 12-hour shifts. 2 12-hour shifts. Instead of 3 8-hour shifts, 3 shifts at 8 hours each. Maybe that's how intense they got it. Because they know if they push these cops, they're more than likely going to go ahead and kill somebody. Right? So this is all based on reality. Cops aren't there to protect and serve you. Cops aren't there to say, oh, well, that's the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, blah, blah, guys, there's no voice of reason. Cops have their momentum too. Their momentum's going. They don't care about the Constitution. That's why these auditors are so important. They're reminding the police officers, hey, you got to adhere to the Constitution. You forgot that. Right? And it's really just serving to piss off the cops anyway. Sorry about that. I do have to blow my nose. I don't know how I'm going to do that. All right. I'll be done in a minute if you could just bear with me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was some nasty business that my wife and these guys were up to. And they all knew about it. Do you guys know that some guy that I know, Hicks, he told me a guy died of a brain aneurysm. He didn't. He's down in Texas, Nathan. That's what they were telling me, and I thought I was having one. My wife was using a neurological weapon on me. Insane. These people are insane. So make no mistake about that. So again, you have to come in LA 2040, nice and clean. You got to come in with some heavy action. You got to show that you got these new guys coming in with cash. How come they didn't offer? Man, I just joined the police department because I didn't have any other. It was either that or join a gang. And I didn't want to join the gang. I'm the good guy. You see this? You see him? Maybe he's got to look in the mirror and keep telling himself, I'm the good guy. Don't forget, I'm the good guy. Well, like I said, with these cops in real life, they don't work for you. They work for the insurance companies of the city that hired them. You understand? They have a directive, and they don't care about your rights. Right? But this guy, maybe he's a little old, like I said, he's older, 35. He can't retire yet. He's got a property he's trying to pay off. He finally bought his condo. He's finally got something. Now, look, all these young guys come in, they get $50,000. If they would have given me $50,000, I would have bought my condo. When I first got here, it just took me 10 years to get this thing. Right? Maybe these kids are just a phone call. He doesn't see them. We don't see them. They're a phone call. They're, video conference. That's all they are. They're on the screen. He can never touch them. You understand? He never gets a hug, this guy. He doesn't feel anything. He hasn't gotten laid, He ain't got pussy since pussy got him, as they used to say. When's the last time he touched a broad? Had some tender loving care, basically, right? Right? That's who this guy is. He can't retire. What's he gonna do? Right? What's he gonna do? So we have to establish this. They start throwing money all in the air. Why? Because they're getting rid of cash in real life. And then that leaves the opening scene with our hero plus the rookie. Right? I'm gonna make a math equation. Hey, did you guys take 64 divided by 3? Did you guys ever do that? 64 divided by 3? Check the news. We got our hero and our rookie. All of a sudden, what happens? They catch the guys. They catch the bad guys. Maybe there's a moment of realization there. Right? So if they catch the bad guys, or they, right? All of a sudden they're looking around for their backup. There is no backup. Maybe they're outnumbered. Maybe there's 4 bad guys. Look, there's only 2 here. Right? We're creating this right now. I don't care about LA 2039. Remember I called it that? Look, that's 19. AI is 19. We talked about the Metonic cycle. 17, 19. Okay. Right? This is the show right here. This is Southland Tales done correctly. And that's why I'm in Hollywood. I'm here to work. I'm not here to sell out. I'm not intimidated by anyone. Like I said, I've been on the set with A-listers. That includes George Clooney. I've been in the same room as Tom Cruise. Being in the same room as Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman got me to Linoleum Blown Apart. I came here with nothing. I didn't come here with a script. And I sat down and I said, well, I'm going to make an opera. I'm not kidding. I was going to create an opera about Stanley Kubrick dying, about the ghost of Stanley Kubrick. No. It was about Stanley Kubrick being haunted by the ghost of Napoleon. That's what it was. It was Stanley Kubrick the night that he died after he did Eyes Wide Shut. This is going to be an opera. I'm not kidding. All right, we're 30 minutes in, guys. I just want to say thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.